Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating piece of tech analysis straight from the Daily Gadget Review. We're going to be looking closely at their recent deep dive into a little device called the TundraFreeze personal cooler. And, as we navigate through their findings, we're not just exploring the gadget itself, but a much broader shift in how we handle these crazy rising temperatures. Okay, let's dive into this and see if this gadget actually holds up to the hype.
I mean, think about it. Why pay to cool empty rooms? It sounds like a simple, almost obvious question, right? But it gets right to the heart of a massive problem highlighted in this review. As the source notes, Americans are currently facing this brutal combination of record-breaking summer heat and climbing energy bills. Summer hits, and boom, along comes that dreaded spike in your utility costs. Running your central AC all day long is simply becoming prohibitively expensive for a lot of people. But just sitting there suffering through the heat and the sticky nights isn't exactly a viable alternative either. The Daily Gadget Review points out that this specific dilemma is exactly why alternative cooling strategies are suddenly getting so much attention online.
And this brilliantly illustrates a fundamental clash in cooling philosophies. On one hand, you have your traditional central AC, the standard we're all pretty used to. But it requires installation, it costs an absolute fortune in electricity, and it cools the entire house indiscriminately, even the rooms you aren't currently using. Contrast that with the personal cooler approach. It's highly portable, it's powered simply by a USB-C cable, and instead of trying to cool the literal architecture of your house, it targets the occupied space. You're cooling the space you are actually in. It's a completely different approach to temperature control.
To see if this targeted approach actually holds up, the Daily Gadget Review didn't just regurgitate a spec sheet. Senior tech reviewer Jordan Chen, who brings 6 years of experience testing home tech to the table, took this thing into the trenches for a rigorous 3-week independent test. What makes his test so compelling is that he ran it during an actual summer heat wave. There were no mild, perfectly temperature-controlled labs used here. He really put it through its paces in real-world demanding conditions to gather concrete data on how it performs when relief is actually desperate. Chen's methodology was intensely practical. He placed the device exactly where we actually live and work: a cluttered home office desk, a crowded bedroom nightstand, right on the kitchen counter, and tucked into a reading nook. The goal was to find out if it could fit seamlessly into daily life without taking up valuable real estate. The article emphasizes that for a personal space cooler to be truly effective, it has to blend into the areas where you actually spend your time without getting in the way.
But how does it actually generate that cold air? Well, the review explains that the TundraFreeze relies on evaporative cooling. It's elegantly simple. It draws in warm, stale air, pulls it through a water-based cooling cartridge, and then pushes out a refreshing breeze. The review neutrally points out a massive advantage to this specific type of technology: zero heavy machinery. There are no tools required, no complex installations, and absolutely no need to call an electrician. It's a completely standalone, self-contained mechanism.
So the crucial point is how effortlessly this tech translates to everyday use, according to the review. It's a 3-step process. First, fill it with water. And Chen notes you can actually drop in ice cubes if you want a serious Arctic blast. Second, plug it in via USB-C. This is kind of a game changer because you aren't tethered to a wall outlet. A laptop or a power bank works perfectly. Finally, just aim and enjoy. You get to direct that refreshing breeze exactly where you were sitting.
This brings us to a very telling observation from the reviewer himself. Going through his testing logs, Jordan Chen noted, "The moment I pointed it at my desk and felt the airflow, I understood why this has been selling out. It's not trying to cool your whole house, and that's exactly the point." This quote really grounds the article's broader claims right in his specific independent testing experience. The satisfaction of the device doesn't come from freezing an entire living room. It comes from that immediate, localized relief right in your immediate personal space.
Now let's look at the hard data from the evaluation. Cooling comfort scored a solid 9.4 out of 10. But the real standouts here are noise level at 9.1 and portability at an exceptionally high 9.6. Chan specifically praised its whisper-quiet operation when measured from just 3 feet away, alongside a build quality that he claims outshines units costing 3 times as much. Factor in the value for money metric at 8.8, and the picture of their assessment becomes very clear.
When you aggregate those individual subscores together, you arrive at the publication's final overall verdict, a 9.2 out of 10. According to the Daily Gadget Review, this score officially earns the TundraFreeze the title of Best Personal Space Cooler We've Tested in 2026. The publication concluded that for anyone dealing with the intense summer heat in a personal space, this device truly delivers real comfort.
Now, for full transparency, this explainer needs to cover the commercial context. The publication notes this was a sponsored review, although they maintain editorial independence over the actual testing. They also highlighted several promos currently attached to the product, including up to 70% off limited stock, a 30-day no-questions-asked guarantee, and fast shipping, provided you order through the official store. The review does throw in a caveat to check availability, warning that high demand might affect stock depending on your location.
Which brings us right to our final thought. The Daily Gadget Reviews piece isn't just about a single piece of plastic and some fans. It's really about a shifting approach to how we manage our environments. Is targeted comfort the smartest way to be both the heat and the utility company? It's a compelling question that completely challenges the traditional cool the whole house mindset, leaving us to rethink our own energy strategies as temperatures continue to rise year after year. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.